Welcome to the Fancy Thinker. I'm Jared Quartermanch, and today we are going to be doing a special review of The Way of EDAN by Philip Chase. And this is book one in the EDAN trilogy. Like many people here on BookTube, I follow Philip Chase's BookTube channel, and he is one of my inspirations for starting out on my own here. Um, I've found him to be one of the nicest and most well-spoken uh, persons you can find on YouTube, and so keep that bias in mind as I give a review of his debut novel, which, from what I hear, took a lot of years and effort to get written and published, and it's a great achievement. Um, and it shows that effort and that time that he put into it shows into the in the book itself. Professor Chase has put together a carefully crafted story that seeks to weave many of our favorite fantasy tropes in a solid narrative that makes you think as well. Makes you think about stuff. So that's always a plus. Many of the cultures that he details in the book here have a quasi historical feel to them, um, which grounds the tale in familiarity to draw you in, yet is still very fantastical enough to transport you away to you know that escapist world that we all want and love to read about. Um, so Chase uses the farm boy beginning, the chosen one who has some hidden power that will, maybe change the world. We don't know yet, but it's hinted at that it's there. And there are some very clever interactions in this book that keep that trope interesting and inviting to the reader. Um, the writer doesn't settle for imitation, and he quickly branches out to make this world quite unique. As the story unfolds, we get introduced to bits and pieces of magic that is strange and unexplained, um, but has that promise that we crave that more will be revealed later. And so the lucky or cursed individuals that can use magic all seem to draw from the same source of power. Some of them call it Edan, and others something else. Um, and so this brings me to a theme that I immediately latched onto, and that of a seemingly uh, monotheistic religion with designs to stamp out all other false religions. Even though it seems like their power source is all the same, but it's all in the means of interpretation. Um, right in the prologue, we are set up with priests who have some sort of martyr complex. They kind of sacrificing themselves for the glory of Adan. And we see the ramifications of that later on. And a related theme to religious expansionism, which is what seems to be happening in this world here, is this idea we have of church and state, church versus state. We have a king and we have a supreme priest, and they both want to spread their power, and they're teaming up to do so. But clearly, they don't like each other, um, and they're at odds on who's really in charge. And so it very much reminded me, and here's where Chase seems to draw on some real life Earth history here, because it reminded me a lot of the investiture, yeah, controversy in the early 12th century on our world between the Holy Roman Emperor and Henry V and Pope Gregory VII. It has that kind of feel. Um, who is really in charge of spreading this way of Adan across the world here, and who's really gonna be the one to accomplish it. They're supposed to be on the same side, but the tension is there, and so I'm kind of wondering if Chase had this in mind when he put this tale together. Bravo if you did. And of course, this is just the beginning of it. So we'll see in future volumes whether this plays out in a similar fashion. Very interesting. And then another theme running through the book is that um, the exploration of doubt, and it's spread subtly throughout the book. How doubt creeps in on even the bad guys who are forcing this expansion into the rest of the kingdoms. Even they have their doubts about what they're doing, and that seed of doubt is planted in all the characters in one way or another, and it's insidious almost, and the doubts brought up in the religion and even the supreme priest himself. And so that's an interesting like little side theme that's explored in here, and it really helps to portray these characters as somebody that you can relate to, because they everybody, we all have doubts about everything. I have doubt about doing this review, but we all do, and the characters in this book do as well, even the ones in charge, And so that was a nice pieces of characterization that was reflected throughout the book with all the characters. Um, and so this book is also filled with otherworldly language borrowed from our history. The writer weaves these languages in perfectly with the culture that he's created, and he makes them come alive. Once again, familiarity heaped upon the fantastic. Some languages are used to represent like magic incantations, and that's a cool effect because we're not familiar with these languages, and unless if you do know what it actually means, that'd be pretty cool. If some of the languages he used, I know it's probably like Old Norse or Welsh or Old English of some sort, but very cool use of that stuff. You know, just so it's not all gushy here, I did have a nitpicky preference of my own. There were a few instances where I felt some of the lines were a little bit redundant, like a character revealing their thoughts about actions just taken that I kind of thought were unnecessary for me to read again because I just saw that action, so I didn't really need to follow up. Um, but that's strictly a preferential thing on my part, and may not may not affect anybody else reading this book, and may not affect the next lucky reader of this book at all. I could definitely see this book as something you can give even to a non-fantasy reader and say, "Hey, this is a great fantasy book that just may suck you into the genre, yeah, genre, permanently." A great read, highly recommended, and I can't wait for the next one. That'll be out this summer sometime. So, uh, all around, check it out. The Way of Adan. If you like this review, please like and subscribe, and be good to each other. Thank you.